And we are officially back. Joshua and Phoebe yell about movies. Phoebe.
Yes, Joshua.
What did we just watch?
Oh my gosh. I don't know.
What?
But it was really good.
It was The Unbearable Weight of Massive Talent starring
really
Nicolas
funny.
Cage as Nicolas Cage.
It was brilliant. It was
I
fun.
mean, oh, wow. How did we watch the best film of all time again?
I don't know.
Everything, Everywhere, All at Once was amazing, and this, in its own way, was, I think, equally brilliant.
The content is tight. They're coming through. There's some good movies out there.
I mean, wow. Okay, and cue the music.
They yell about directors, yell about the plot, yell about the acting, but they also talk a lot. But mostly Joshua and Phoebe yell about the movies.
And we're back. Welcome back to Josh and Phoebe Yell About Movies. We're here with Phoebe. Phoebe, what was your reaction to the Nicolas Cage movie?
I had two reactions.
Yeah.
Hysterical laughter, or just my jaw was dropped on how creative and weird and funny and exact. I feel like I'm in on a joke, but I don't know who told it with Nicolas Cage. This attracts, he's like the Pied Piper.
Yes.
And I just hope I don't find out that, like, people that love Nicolas Cage are a certain type of person that I don't want to be. It's like Dave Matthews fans.
Oh,
you know what I mean?
No.
We had to wake up, but, we had to run its course. And that's all I'll say about that.
Right. Anyway, that's a different story, but hi everybody, I'm back as Joshua. That was me. I was doing a voice. But yes, who would like this film?
Who would like this
Who
film?
would like this film, Phoebe?
Oh, it's the people that somehow get, but don't get Nicolas Cage. There are people that will not watch Nicolas Cage movies, like your cousin David.
But they love Nicolas Cage movies.
But they do?
But they love, right. People say they don't like Nicolas Cage. It's like people who really love The Simpsons. A lot of people say, oh, The Simpsons now, terrible. But the early seasons... So I think there's people just like that for Nicolas Cage, because he's been around for so long. I think there's people now who go, oh, what he's doing is terrible. You need classic Cage. So this film is appealing to, like, every genre of fan. It manages to name check, like, 8 or 9 Nicolas Cage movies. And as the movie went on, it name checked all these films. And then we got home. They didn't mention Peggy Sue Got Married. They also didn't mention Raising Arizona.
No, they didn't.
They didn't.
No, but they did mention Peggy Sue Got Married.
Oh, did they?
Well, so there's an alter ego of him,
right,
which is the megalomaniac actor and bad boy. And he has the hair from Peggy Sue Got Married, I think.
Okay.
But the jacket, the leather jacket, is it from the movie where he was the one, the ghost writer?
I'm not sure, but he was wearing a Wild at Heart shirt. That is a David Lynch movie. We just looked up from him.
So then that was the
1990.
mention of that. So maybe those are the films that he wants people to think of him in.
It's almost like, yeah, okay, guys, we're going to be honest. This film is for Nicolas Cage superfans, which apparently we are.
I can't, am I?
But yeah, but there's so many bad films that you love because Nicolas Cage is in it, like Ghost Rider.
No, I feel like he has some sort of magical powers that when people see him, some of us just get hypnotized. And you must watch these films. And they're so different. Some of them are really fun. Some of them are really bad. Really bad. I mean, I'm still recovering from the delight that was Willy's Wonderland. But then what was that movie the Japanese filmmaker made?
I don't know. That was another thing.
The one we shut off?
Right.
Piece of garbage.
I couldn't give you the title, but that was part of that tax settlement you were reading. His long Wikipedia entry about how he's owed money for, like, buying castles and islands over the last 30 years.
Oh my gosh.
Insane. Read his Wikipedia, guys. and also, well, what?
Do yourselves a favor and read his Wikipedia.
And then, before you watch the movie too, watch his latest interview on Jimmy Kimmel, because he's nuts. Phoebe, before this film, was asking me, what do you think Nicolas Cage is really like? And I said, I have no idea. And now, after watching this interview, Nicolas Cage doesn't seem to either. He's like...
No, that was interesting. He didn't know if it was going to be slapstick. He didn't know if he would be mocked. He didn't know if he'd be good. He had no idea. And the guy that's making the film is the character Javi, a super fan.
Right, guys, so Javi, if you haven't seen the trailer, is played by Pedro Pascal, who is a rich billionaire who owns an island. We think details not clear.
We can't give too much away.
Yeah, well,
can we?
I don't know. Anyway, he's a Nicolas Cage super fan, so, but you can give away as much as the Jimmy Kimmel episode does.
He's in a cartel.
Yeah, he's in a cartel. But, so, the director of this film is a Nicolas Cage super fan, right, like you said, like Javi Pedro Pascal is.
Yeah.
No, what I meant was that Jimmy Kimmel interview, it seemed like he was playing himself. Like, he was telling these wild stories and, like, giving off these Nicolas Cage-isms, right?
Yeah.
I mean...
He was poking fun at himself without degrading himself.
Right.
And that was very vulnerable on Nicolas Cage's part. But, you know, he is vulnerable. I mean, he's bought, I don't know, something like 33 cars. 12 of them are Rolls Royces. He's bought islands, castles, jets, dinosaur skulls.
Yes, dinosaur skulls. Okay. Well, having said all that, guys, incredible amount of fun watching the movie this week. Let's walk through the film a little bit from scene to scene. The beginning of the film, it's kind of like a classic story, like rich white guy dad, too caught up in his own world of business to notice that he's ruining his daughter's 16th birthday. He shows up hammered drunk to his daughter's 16th birthday after he loses a film role.
Right.
And then he walks in and says, "I love you, honey," and starts singing a song to her at the piano in front of her and her mortified friends. How terrible and depressing was that?
Oh my gosh, it was the worst. It was the worst, but it was the best.
Absolutely.
Pedro and Nick, their chemistry on screen. This is what we call a wild bromance film.
Absolutely. This is the greatest bromance of all time. If I have anything to say about it.
But it's also kind of creepy because the guy that created it is writing this like amazing bromance with him and Nicolas Cage. Not that it's homosexual, but it is a man crush.
Oh, this is the greatest man crush of all time. Or yeah, it's amazing. There's in every single scene. Like, you think Pedro Pascal is going to kill him and that he knows he's become a spy for the CIA, which, you know, if you've watched the trailer, guys, I mean, I don't think giving anything away that's in the trailer or the Jimmy Kimmel interview is a spoiler. So I'm not going to say that.
But I did like the transition of, like, after I saw the trailer, I still wasn't entirely sure what this film was about. And then it answered it for me really quickly once we got into it, and it was delightful. I mean, they don't make movies like this anymore. First of all, it reminds me of one of the action comedies from the 80s and the 90s, which Nick Cage has been in.
What action comedies in the 80s and 90s that Nick Cage has been in?
Oh, Face Off.
Face Off. Yes. So Pedro Pascal asked Nicolas Cage to name his favorite films of all time, and Nicolas Cage is like, "Whoa, man!" He reminds me of another guy in Hollywood who has a similar career as him. I think, not John Travolta. That guy sucks. Keanu Reeves. Keanu Reeves and Nicolas Cage are on this similar weird trajectory, right? Like where they both are sort of like caricatures of themselves at this point, but not in a Marlon Brando like washed out fat way. It's as if they both spent millions of dollars sculpting their face and like body and mannerisms to be like this like
they are a brand
caricature of themselves.
Yes,
right? So
they
he's
are.
A caricature of himself at this point, and so you can't tell if he's playing himself or if that's really how he is. But
however, it has been said that Nicolas Cage is one of the most underrated actors of today. And that he has done more with the art form than any actor in years and years and years. So, and then you have the people that think that he's just totally annoying and out of his gourd. And I think he is out of his gourd.
Oh, absolutely. That's what makes him fun.
But he doesn't judge the
That's what makes him fun.
It also makes him an artist, I think. He said that it was painful to play himself, but I wonder why. I wish he had talked more about that on Jimmy Kimmel.
Well, I wish he had too. So, the beginning of the movie. Also, Doogie Howser plays his agent. Small part, but very, very fun. What did you think of that?
It was cute. Yeah. He's always good. I mean, he's great.
Yeah, Doogie was essentially playing like his advisor, like Overlord role from The Matrix 4 we just watched a few months back.
You realize, though, that a lot of our listeners won't even know who Doogie Howser is.
Well, can you name that actor without looking it up?
I can't.
You can't. That's okay. They know who he is. They know who we're talking about.
But it's because...
I think most of our listeners are around our age or older.
My mom knew him. Like, they were friends. I just don't remember his name. Hold on. Doogie Howser. This is so... Neil Patrick Harris.
Yes.
Yes.
Neil Patrick Harris. Doogie Howser. Honestly, I have this tick where I call famous actors by their favorite characters. For instance, Willem Dafoe. When I'm talking to him about my cousin, I always call him the Green Goblin. I just say, yeah, so the Green Goblin, he's in a new film. And David will be like, you mean Willem Dafoe? I'll be like, that's what I said. The Green Goblin. For me, some characters are indistinguishable. I mean, some actors are indistinguishable from the best characters they play. And in this one, it's obvious that Nicolas Cage is indistinguishable from Nicolas Cage. Woo!
That was good. That was good.
So
funny.
So fun.
So
funny.
Funny, fun.
And like
great action movies. A real changer. Who's the guy that plays Lucas?
Lucas, by the way, is the drug lord that's the real villain of the film, who's not shown in the trailer.
Oh, man. What's the name of this film again? It's a long title.
I know it is.
I mean, I know. I keep calling it the Nicolas Cage film.
You can.
What is it?
The Unbearable Weight of Massive Talent.
Okay.
Would you like...
It's a bit of a high maintenance. Tom Gornican.
Okay.
Is the director and the writer who is the super fan, and I think he kind of like wrote himself into this. Okay, who is the guy that plays Lucas, the really scary, Luis Gutierrez, the really scary head of the cartel? His name is Paco Leon. And whoever he is, he's really scary.
Yes, Paco Leon. He is extremely scary. Played an extremely convincing drug dealer. His character seemed like he was transported from a much more serious film, right? Because the film at its heart is a farce, right?
Yeah.
But he's a character from like a non-farcical universe. And there's this part near the end where Pedro Pascal and like his girlfriend seem like they're going down in a blaze of glory, trying to have a shootout on a bridge.
Yes.
Remember with like a motorcycle that they show up with like guns and a submachine gun?
So funny.
And he's trying to shoot his brother down like right through a tunnel. And it was just like a parody of all those Nicolas Cage action films this movie loves to talk about.
Amazing.
Like The Rock, like Con Air, like Face Off. I can't believe those are 3 different films, by the way.
I know.
He did those almost back to back.
I know.
An incredible stretch of filmmaking by
Totally.
Yeah.
So Paco Leon is from Spain.
Mm-hmm.
And I hope he becomes mainstream over here because he was really, really good.
He sure was.
He was really scary. Like, you could not stop looking at his eyes. And I was, well, first of all, his eyes are like an ocean. So it's kind of hard to take your eyes off them anyway. But I was looking for any sort of moment where he breaks. And he looked evil the entire time.
He sure did.
He looked so evil. I thought he was really good in it. Everybody was so good in it. I don't know who the woman is that played his wife.
That's okay.
Have you seen her in any other
I have
movie?
not. We have not. But if we don't know her name, chances are no one else listening will know it either.
Joanna Bobbin.
Okay.
Yeah. She was in The Brothers Grimsby, Alice Through the Looking Glass.
Oh, you mean she, the lady who played Nicolas Cage's wife?
Yeah. She's British too. She's not Irish.
Okay. Right. So the setup is he ruins his 16-year-old daughter's birthday party, and his wife is also there, and she has, what is it, like a British accent, right?
Irish
accent. And they're about the same age, and Nicolas Cage is, yeah, like I said at the beginning, playing this classic type character of a white guy, 40s or 50s, works himself to death and ignores his daughter. And that's like the conceit of the film, and then Doogie Howser shows up and says, how about $1 million to go to this guy's birthday party? And then Nicolas Cage, he meets his director, and then he does an audition for him on the spot as he's about to get in his limousine. I mean, how amazing was that?
That was good.
He's like, no, I'll reach for it. He's like, really? He's like, wait. And then Nicolas Cage closes the door of the director's limousine as he's about to get in and does this like, well, what you don't know is this. And that's why. And
so I think what that is him making fun of himself a little bit.
Right.
Well, it's the writer writing it because
Yes.
apparently that's what he did to his uncle, Francis Ford Coppola,
Yes.
when he was 15 years old.
Right.
And which was not met with any silent car ride home. It was described as his reaction. But he did work in Coppola's films in his early years. How about that LSD scene?
Yeah, the LSD scene was like...
Kind of amazing.
And it was kind of amazing. It was the funniest characters on acid or LSD.
I couldn't stop laughing.
Ever.
I think that's where I laughed the hardest in the whole thing.
Ever.
That
They were
was
just like...
so funny. That and when they
Yes.
jumped off the cliff.
Wait, was that... Did he get an acid to jump off the cliff?
No.
Nicolas Cage...
No. That was later.
Okay. All right, yeah, they just started like running and hiding. Nicolas Cage was acting like these two random weirdos in the neighborhood were spying on them or like spies and chasing them. And Pedro Pascal's character, Harvey, was just going along with it. He's like, really? Really? And then they just started running away all around through the city. And then eventually, is that when they jumped over the cliff or how did they end the LSD scene?
They ended the LSD scene... Gosh, I don't know how it ended. It was just a delight of violence and hysteria.
Yeah, they were incredibly petty.
You know what? All of the scenes between Javi and Nick Cage
Are a little disorienting, right?
and hilarious.
And
I
hilarious.
think they're the funniest scenes in the movie. I mean, Nick Cage is such a delight.
Mm-hmm.
Throughout this entire film, but I can't really tell. How do you be method when you're being yourself? But
What was that style of acting?
and they made fun of it too. It was nouveau shamanic, where
It's Nicolas
like-
Cage, baby. Woo!
that's when thespians and shamans used to dance or something. I don't know.
Yes.
It's something crazy. He said he'd write a book about it at some point, but in the meantime, they made fun of it in there. Like he's really playing himself.
All right. So after Nicolas Cage lands on this $1 million island in the middle of nowhere, by
Right.
the way, Tiffany Haddish playing her standard character she always does. She's like, "What's up with you, Nicolas Cage?" She gets
CIA
excited.
agents.
She gets excited playing the sassy black girl. She's kind of like the Queen Latifah of the new millennium. What do you think?
Oh, interesting. Why Queen Latifah?
That's just my go-to for sassy black girl actress.
Oh, I don't know. I mean, she's a boss lady.
Right. Like Tiffany Haddish, I think, a little bit.
Well, Tiffany Haddish, everything I've seen her in, she plays either like the detective or
Right.
the CIA agent.
Yes.
Yeah.
She plays like a fangirl version of like a
She
a
literally
detective.
is
Yeah.
just as herself.
Right, just
She's
herself.
just herself.
Right, and she's like, "What's up, Nicolas Cage?" And then she says she's seen him in the cruise, and then she slips a tracking device into his pocket. And the other CIA agent says, "You mean Nicolas Cage from Con Air?" He's like, "Yeah, I know who Nicolas Cage is," and talking about his films. And meanwhile, she's like talking about this animated film called The Croods 2, which probably you have, if you're hearing us, you have not seen The Croods 2. Neither have I.
Yeah.
Probably not very good. He did so many films over the last 10 years to pay
I
for his
suddenly have a
massive tax
strange
debt.
desire, though, because Nicolas Cage liked it to see Paddington 2.
Yeah, that was one of the...
That's a little disturbing.
But that might... Maybe he doesn't. Then that was just one of the director's jokes. Because Nicolas Cage said, list your favorite films. And his first one was what? Con Air, right?
Yes.
and then it was The Cabin of Dr. Caligari.
No, the first one was Face Off.
Face Off,
And
right.
he was like, oh, thank you.
Yeah. And the second one was, I believe, The Cabinet of Dr. Caligari, an old 1920s black and white horror film.
Right.
That he made his daughter watch.
Yeah. I want to see that too. See, this is what I mean about Nicolas Cage, that he can get away with doing a movie made about him by a superfan, because they've got to be as nuts as he is. That's who's watching it. People who are nuts, we're nuts.
We are a little nuts. And that's okay.
We are eccentrics. We're a little eccentric.
Listen, we're so nuts. I got you to watch a movie called Willy's Wonderland, where I said it's Nicolas Cage fighting a bunch of animatronic robots in a warehouse.
What do you mean, got me to watch? I was completely willing to watch this.
Wait, did we? No, we did not actually do a podcast review of Willy's Wonderland because it's It's terrible, but
Well, we also...
let's do a mini one real quick.
But the reason was because I wasn't the host yet. You were still hosting with the one whose name we will not mention.
That's fine. But we never did, and we are not going to in the future. But let's talk about Willy's Wonderland for just a minute.
Okay.
All right. It's
hilarious.
Hilarious. Nicolas Cage showing up in a black leather jacket and a trench coat in a black car, looking like he's off the set of Mandy, which, by the way, is another movie name checked in our current...
And is he from space? Is he not? I think we did do Willy's Wonderland, because I remember talking about this. Really?
No.
Maybe we just talked about someone trying
we talked
to
about it
figure
so
out.
much.
We had to have therapy with each other after watching that. He lived on Mountain Dews and humped a pinball machine in order to give him energy to fight all of these satanic cult possessed robots.
Basically imagining that animatronic robots from Chuck E. Cheese and Showbiz Pizza were possessed and came to life and would kill people.
That's right.
And that's the movie.
They were serial killers.
Right.
Oh my gosh.
So anyway,
but what was he? Was he from space? Was he supernatural?
He did not have a single line in this film, I want to point out.
Why did he have to have Mountain Dews and play pinball in order to get the energy up to fight them?
Just because it was a video game.
We don't know anything about him, and he never had any lines, but he was the savior.
No lines. He had no lines in the film.
It was so weird. It was so weird, and it was delightfully low budget.
Delightful.
I found it really funny.
So we can only recommend this film.
If you love the killer clowns from outer space, and you also have whatever Joshua and I are infected with, which is this strange, mysterious curiosity about Nick Cage and watching him go, then this is the movie for you.
Yes, it is. You know, it's funny. I thought Adaptation was that movie for me so long ago.
I loved that.
Where he played himself and his twin brother, and they were talking to each other.
I loved that movie.
I thought that was about as Nick Cage meta as you could get, but this movie takes that level of meta to another level. It's
is it meta or is it mega?
Mega. Oh, mega acting. Mega acting. That's another thing. But all right, so we're at the midpoint of the film. And by this point, Nicolas Cage he's working with the CIA, and he likes the idea. And so they convince him to stay longer on the island. And he tells Pedro in front of a big party, the party he was hired for $1 million, that he would like to stay with him for longer to make a movie.
Yeah.
Now I'm doing Keanu Reeves here.
That was Keanu Reeves.
It was a combination of both of them.
Anyway, I really wouldn't compare Keanu Reeves to Nick Cage, except for that they are both like caricatures of themselves. Right. But I don't think that their caricatures have anything in common.
I kind of do.
Do you?
I kind of do. They're both very over-the-top characters of themselves. And like the John Wick series, which I haven't seen. Have you seen it?
No.
It kind of looks like he's, again, a hilarious video game parody of himself. Okay, so this movie really takes it to another level when Pedro Pascal flies in Nicolas Cage's wife and his daughter just so he could work on his acting because they're going to make a movie together.
Right.
And they're all sitting in the conference room. And you don't know at this point if he knows that Nicolas Cage is working for the CIA or what is happening. It's so weird.
I know.
That scene where he's telling his daughter what he always wanted to say to her about that trip when she was a little girl, remember?
Oh yeah, the heart-to-heart moment. Here's the thing, it's really hard to talk about this movie sequentially because, I think the people that listen to this episode must have already seen the film. Because there's no explaining this. There's no explaining Nicolas Cage. I think that it was a really good representation of how... it's just like a comedy unlike any other.
Right. Okay. So, all right. Well, we don't have to go sequentially, but it dwells in Nicolas Cage land, and it jokes on itself, like when they're talking about making a script together and they're driving along in the sunset together, like on this cliff line. Yeah. Nicolas Cage says something like, it's going to be like a character drama or character-driven drama. And then he gets real serious.
I think that's the place where they reference his nouveau shamanic acting style that he apparently invented.
Yeah, and then Tiffany Haddish, meanwhile, is texting Nicolas Cage, like, have you found the kidnapped girl? Because they believe that Harvey has kidnapped this girl. And so they give him a location. Nicolas Cage goes to find the location. And then he thinks Harvey is knocked out in the Jeep behind him because Didn't they just have like a car chase? How did he knock him out? That's how the acid scene, that's how the LSD scene ended. Remember, he thought they were being chased.
Yes.
So they were running away from imaginary pursuers in this Jeep.
Yes.
And he accidentally knocks Harvey out, crashing into a wall or doing a flip with the Jeep or something crazy.
Yes.
And he sees him knocked out, and he's right in front of the place where Tiffany Haddish tells him that the girl was kidnapped. So he goes inside, and then Pedro Pascal walks up behind him and says, what's behind this door will change your perception of me. And you think it's like some nefarious
cartel,
evil.
yeah.
Right. And then turns out
stacks and stacks of money and cocaine. Right.
Right. And then it's not. He's a Nicolas Cage super fan. He's been hiding it. It's like his old posters and
yes.
Anyway,
yes.
Wow.
It's really. I don't think that he has the same bromance with Tom Gornican as the guy that wrote and directed this, who is the real life hobby.
Okay, so we got the bromance. He's the Nicolas Cage super fan. The movie starts off like a straight comedy, and then gradually, it's like you're watching a Nicolas Cage movie happening as they're talking about a Nicolas Cage movie, right?
Yes.
Like he's like, his daughter does get kidnapped, and he's running around pretending to shoot people, and then he's shooting them for real, imaginary escapes, and then it becomes a real escape. Like the movie absolutely has it all.
It's hilarious.
How hilarious is it on a scale of 1 to 10?
10 gold guns.
10 gold guns. I'm not even sure Nicolas Cage ever had golden guns, because I think they're referencing the James Bond film, The Man with the Golden Gun. So there was a statue in the trailer and in the movie. There's a
because there was a poster of the movie on the wall of him holding the golden guns.
Right. I was saying, what movie is that from?
I gotta find out. Face Off. It's from Face Off.
Oh, Golden Guns and Face Off? I did not remember that, but that makes sense. Okay, so...
we were talking about how many do you give it? And I give it 10 golden guns.
Okay, great.
What do you give it?
Oh, I give it 11 golden guns. It's fantastic. It's all anyone needs who's any kind of fan of Nicolas Cage.
I just wish I could describe what kind of humor this is, or what kind of... I think what kind of person this draws. Why do we have this Nicolas Cage, like, hypnotism? Why do we get it? Like, I don't understand why it's funny, but it's so funny.
It is so funny.
Yes. He's insane.
He's absolutely insane. Oh, and if you're the same kind of insanity as we are, then you'll absolutely love this film. The Massive Weight of Unbearable Talent, starring Nicolas Cage and Pedro Pascal. Anything else you want to say about the greatest film of all time?
Of all time?
Yes.
It's really a great comedy, and it's definitely worth a see, and I would love to hear actually from people that don't like Nicolas Cage what they think about this movie, too. So I can understand myself a little bit more for loving it so much.
None of them exist. So you said it's an all-time great comedy. Is it better or worse than Amos and Andrew?
I never saw Amos and Andrew.
Okay. Well, it's a Nicolas Cage comedy. It's an early one. What other comedies did he do that you liked?
I mean, I feel like everything he's done is a comedy with the exception of Con Air and Face Off.
Kind of, yeah. Well, Leaving Las Vegas is definitely not.
Definitely not a funny movie.
No.
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, well...
Moonstruck.
Moonstruck,
he was
movie.
Absolutely hilarious.
He absolutely was. Okay, did you have a favorite scene in The Unbearable Weight of Massive Talent that we didn't talk about yet?
That we didn't talk about yet that I loved. I love the scene where they jump off of the cliff.
Yes.
That was a big high point for me.
It was amazing. It
was so steep. I wonder if that was them.
It seems like there's been a run lately on movies with people jumping off cliffs, because they did it in Coda also.
They did. I thought the same thing. Do you think that those were stuntmen, or was that Nicolas Cage and Pascal?
Thank you for mentioning whether or not it was a stuntman, because that was another thing. all over this film, Javi keeps mentioning to Nicolas Cage that he knows he's better at him than running and driving because he saw him do his own stunts in this movie or that movie. And Nicolas Cage says, "You're right, but you can't. It's not really fair to compare or whatever." And then he's it's so stinking good. It's not. He's like, "I know you did your own stunts in this movie." He's like, "Really?" And then he says, "I saw it in the director's edition commentary or whatever."
The end. When they make the movie about themselves that I think we're watching.
Was it Kim Basinger playing his wife, or was his real wife?
Moore.
And wasn't she his real wife at one point? Or was that...
No.
Oh, it just...
No. Of his 5 wives, no. That was never Nicolas Cage's ex.
That's true, but he was married to Patricia Arquette and...
Lisa Marie Presley.
Elvis Presley's daughter. So 2 very famous women. So
yes.
The fact that he could have been married to Demi Moore, I think a lot of people would have been like, was he married to Demi Moore? Like, they wouldn't remember.
No, he wasn't. His last 3 wives were all Asian women, and the one that he's with currently is 26 years old.
Yes, 30 years his junior.
And to me, honestly, I feel like, and they're having a baby, so...
Good for him.
I don't want to say
Good for him, Nicolas Cage, pulling a Charlie Chaplin.
That's the most cliche thing. I'd say that this is the most uninteresting decision that he's ever made.
Listen, the great thing is the girls get younger and younger, and Nicolas Cage stays the same age.
It's so,
all right.
It's so tired. And I'm sorry, he's starting to look like Bob from Sesame Street.
How much work does he have done on his face? He has, like, rubber skin at this point.
I don't know, but the hairspray and the feathered hair is the giveaway. That's the giveaway. That and the Just for Men beard.
I mean, it's incredible. He seems like an animatronic robot of a person, even in the Jimmy Kimmel interview. It seemed like a video game character, like he was constructed, just like out of spare parts from the back room and the makeup department.
Right.
He said it was his first late night talk show appearance in 14 years, and you can see why.
Wow.
Because he's nuts. Jimmy Kimmel was so excited to ask him about the myths and urban legends about him, like him owning a 2-headed snake, which he says is true. We were watching this interview, we didn't know what to believe. Mm. It just seemed like he was playing a character in this interview. All right. Yeah, we loved it. We covered everything here ad nauseum. Greatest film of all time. We gave it a rating. Guys, go see the film. Phoebe, how big of an endorsement can you give this film before we sign off?
The timing of the sneeze says it all. That is what we call an inspired moment. It made my face explode.
You have some very inspired nasal passages.
That was my face exploded. I was so inspired.
That's one of the reasons I married you. Okay. And we'll see you next time, guys, as they yell about the movies. They yell about a lot. Sometimes they have guests, but lately they have not. Joshua and Phoebe yell
about the movies.
Bye, guys.